Okay guys, this is our notes on our new unit called Systems of Equations. I'm just going to write the word down. Oh, let me get that pen rolling first there. So what we're doing is called Systems of Equation. And very simply, a system is simply two equations at the same time. Now, you guys know what's going to happen. We're supposed to take these two equations and put them on the same graph. And what we're looking for is something to this effect. If the two lines look like this, the answer, of course, is that point. And that's what we're looking for. Now, you can see that we're going to have some problems here. So the question is, why is a graph not always the best way to do it? Answers? First of all, just like the one we have in there, the answer might be decimals. So we wouldn't be very accurate there. There's a second possibility, and I'm going to erase the graph up top here. Okay, and that would be that the graph might not intersect till off the graph, so we can't see answers. The third answer is nobody wants to get a y alone. So if we hate getting y alone, we know there's got to be a better place or a better way to do it. That's the second one. And last but not least, does anybody know?
Get it. I don't care.
That is correct. Not gonna lie. So let's move on to the algebra. Here's what we're really looking at. This method we're going to use now is called the dropout or the elimination method. Most geeks use the word elimination. We like the word dropout just because it makes a lot more sense. And what we're looking at when we see these two problems right here at the same time is this concept. In order to make a 5 drop out, we simply have to do a -5. Because of course, that makes 0 or they just drop out. If I had a -3, to make that drop out, we need a +3. Again, 0. If I had a 5 and a -3, would those drop out? And the answer, of course, is no. So we know they have to have the same number and different signs. Makes perfect sense. Let me erase those for a second here. Okay, so when we look at this problem, here's our steps. Step 1. Make sure everything lines up. Meaning, you have to have your x's lined up, you have to have your y's lined up, your equal signs lined up, and your regular numbers lined up. After you have that, you're going to look for something that drops out. Now, the question is, what drops out? In other words, is it the x's or the y's? Most of you guys can see that the y's are going to drop out. One's a -2, one's a +2. So when you see something getting ready to drop out, we draw a line and combine. Meaning we literally combine the two equations into one. So 5x plus invisible 1x equals 6x. The y's cancel out, drop out, and we get equal to 12. Okay, so from there, we kind of move on. Now, I'm going to expand this so I have a little space. Most of you guys know what's going to happen from here. If you just look at this, the next step obviously is to divide by 6 and divide by 6. So the final answer is x equals 2. Too easy. Way too easy. But we're not done. Here's the issue. If you think about what our answer was, and I'm way up here, it was a point. And a point is always an x and a y. Okay? So we need to find y. So the question is, how do you do that? And if you take a peek over here, step 3, We call it picking a booger. I'm sorry, guys, but it's just the way it got to be done. So what happens is, right there, it's disgusting, but it's true. We need to pick a booger, meaning we need to pick either one of these equations and plug this into it. I don't care which one. When you're picking, it's nasty, so it doesn't matter which one. That's why we're calling it pick a booger. Just pick one of the equations because both of them work. I always pick the top one. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Because that's the one I'm used to. I'm a creature of habit. But it will give you the same answer if you pick the bottom. So again, pick a booger. Pick one of the equations, and we're going to plug in. So 5x minus 2y equals 4. I know this is nasty for some of you guys, but you just got to remember. You got to write it down. Now we plug into x. Now remember, sometimes we solve for y, just so you know. But in this case, it's x. So we plug in. And now we're going to solve for y. Now I'm running out of space, so I'm going to shove this up in the top here. Just make sure. Yeah. Oops, sorry guys. So I'm going to just get this up here. So 5 parentheses 2 minus 2y equals 4. Okay. So again, you know our routine. Anytime we see parentheses, we got to handle the mash first. Then it comes down to junk and divide. And last but not least, our answer. Now notice we've got y equals positive 3. So our final answer is a combination of this and this to create a point. Always x first, y second. And that's our final answer. That would give us the same point as if we graphed it up there. Okay? All right, let's try another one. All right, so let's reset the page here. Let's go to the next equation down low. And we'll show you what's going on with our steps. I think that'll fit. All right, so step 1, make sure everything's lined up. In this equation, we're looking good. X's, Y's, equal signs, and regular numbers. Step 2, let's see if one of them drops out. Is it going to be the X or the Y? Now, in this case, you can see that it's the X's, a negative 3 and a positive 3. So this is different than the previous one where the Y's dropped out. This one, the X's dropped out. So again, we draw a line and combine. The X's drop out. Combine the Y's. Remember that sign tells you to subtract. And off we go. Most of you guys, once you get this step done, it's easy. Divide by negative 2. Divide by negative 2. And the final answer ends up being 4. Now notice in this case, we solved for y. Really important that you understand you're not solving for x every time. Now, step 3, the dreaded, you know what it's called, pick a booger. Okay, so again, it doesn't matter which one you pick, but you have to pick one and then write it down. So I'm again going to pick the top one because I'm a creature of habit. It has nothing to do with anything else. Both of them give you the same exact answer. So I'll rewrite it. Negative 3x plus 2y equals 11. And then I'm going to plug this in to the y, not the x. I'm going to rewrite it up here because we have some space here. Okay. So we're going to go negative 3x plus 2 substitute parentheses 4 equals 11. We know we got to take care of our mash. Rewrite everything else. And then it's junk and divide. Most of you guys are really good at this. Let's see, that is, good lord, 3. Divide by negative 3. And I get x equals negative 1. Okay, so that's the main stuff. Then again, don't forget to write the final answer, which is always a point. The x first, -1, comma 4y. And that would be where the equations would cross if you were to graph them. Okay, so now I'm going to show you your assignment. It looks like this on the worksheet. And again, I just want to make sure my pen's right in here. Okay. All right, so this sheet looks a little complicated, but in all honesty, this graph is nothing more than to find your answers. You are not graphing. We are going to use the dropout or the elimination method. Okay, so I'm going to actually do the first one with you guys. I'm going to show you what it should look like on your paper. So let me just grab this paper here, slide it over here. I'm going to copy down the first one and then get you guys rolling here. Okay, so the first one, number 1, will look something like this. X plus y. And again, you guys are going to write these on separate sheet of paper, so this is really going to what yours is going to look like. 3x minus y equals 7. And then we're going to do our thing. Now, this one's a little weird because it doesn't look like anything drops out. The x's don't look right. The y's don't look like. But, in fact, when you put those invisible ones in here, you got the +1 and the -1. The y's drop out. So when you see something drop out, draw a line and combine. Put the x's together. That gives us 4x. The y's dropped out, which is why we did it. And you get equals to 12. Again, most of you guys are so good from here. Divide by 4, divide by 4, and x equals 3. Now again, this is the part, step 2, we have to do the dreaded pick a booger. So, doesn't matter which one you pick, but you got to pick one of those equations. Okay, so the first one, I'm going to always pick the top one. Just make sure you rewrite it. And it looks like this. Let me just bring it down here. I always go down low here, so plus y equals 5. I found x, so make sure you plug in for x. In this case, I don't need parentheses. Usually we do, but since there's nothing around it, I'm not going to use them. You guys know what I'm talking about. You could just use parentheses here. Okay, draw the line and do our thing. Junk and divide. -3. Oh, sorry about that. -3. And y equals 2. Now remember, your answer is a point. X first, y second. Okay? And that's it. That's the dropout method. Now, just so you guys who are interested in finding answers, 3, 2, remember that's x, so I'm going to bring this back over here. Over 1, 2, 3, up 1, 2. So my answer, for those of you guys who like the riddles, is B for number 1. So number 1 is B. If you want to do the riddle. Again, you don't have to. We're only requiring you guys do 4. But just so you know how this all comes together. Okay? All right, good luck.